Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, is one of the most revered figures in American history. His journey from humble beginnings to the highest office in the land is a story of perseverance, leadership, and dedication to the principles of liberty and equality. Join us as we delve into the life and legacy of Abraham Lincoln. Early life. Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, in a one-room log cabin on the Sinking Spring Farm in Hardin County, Kentucky. His parents, Thomas and Nancy Hanks Lincoln, were frontierspeople, struggling to make ends meet in the rugged wilderness. From a young age, Lincoln's life was marked by hardship and toil. The family moved several times, eventually settling in Indiana. Despite the grueling work and constant moves, young Abraham developed a deep love for reading and learning. With only about a year of formal schooling, he was largely self-educated, borrowing books from neighbors and reading by the flickering light of the fireplace. His favorites included the Bible, Aesop's fables, and works by Shakespeare. These formative years laid the foundation for Lincoln's intellectual curiosity and his eloquent speaking and writing skills. Early career. In his early 20s, Lincoln struck out on his own, eventually arriving in the small village of New Salem, Illinois. Here, he worked as a store clerk, a rail splitter, and even a postmaster. His honesty and integrity earned him the nickname Honest Abe. During this time, he also served as a captain in the Black Hawk War, although he never saw combat. New Salem was a turning point in Lincoln's life. It was here that he first immersed himself in local politics, joining debates and discussing issues with the townspeople. Lincoln's knack for storytelling and his ability to connect with people of all backgrounds made him a natural leader. Encouraged by his success, he decided to pursue a career in law and politics. Lincoln borrowed law books from a local attorney and studied diligently. By 1836, he had obtained his law license and moved to Springfield, Illinois, to practice law. His reputation as a skilled and ethical lawyer grew, and he became known for his persuasive arguments and commitment to justice. Political rise. Lincoln's entry into politics began with his election to the Illinois state legislature in 1834. As a member of the Whig Party, he championed policies that promoted economic development, infrastructure improvements, and education. His speeches were marked by their clarity, logic, and moral conviction. In 1846, Lincoln was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, where he served a single term. He spoke out against the Mexican-American War, arguing that it was an unjust conflict initiated by President James K. Polk. This stance was unpopular in his home state and contributed to his decision not to seek re-election. Lincoln returned to his law practice but remained active in politics. The passage of the Kansas-Nebraska Act in 1854, which allowed territories to decide on the legality of slavery, reignited his political ambitions. Lincoln opposed the spread of slavery, believing it was morally wrong and a threat to the nation's future. His debates with Senator Stephen A. Douglas during the 1858 Illinois Senate race brought him national recognition. Though Lincoln lost the Senate race, his eloquent arguments against the expansion of slavery resonated with many Americans and laid the groundwork for his presidential campaign. Presidential election. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln was nominated as the Republican candidate for President of the United States. The nation was deeply divided over the issue of slavery, with southern states threatening to secede if a Republican were elected. Lincoln's platform was clear. He opposed the expansion of slavery into new territories, but promised not to interfere with it where it already existed. The election of 1860 was one of the most contentious in American history. Lincoln's opponents included Northern Democrat Stephen A. Douglas, Southern Democrat John C. Breckinridge, and Constitutional Union candidate John Bell. Despite the divided opposition, Lincoln won the presidency with a significant electoral majority, but only about 40% of the popular vote. Lincoln's election triggered a crisis. Before he even took office, 7 southern states seceded from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America. Lincoln faced an unprecedented challenge: how to preserve the Union while addressing the deeply entrenched issue of slavery. The Civil War. The Civil War began on April 12, 1861, when Confederate forces fired on Fort Sumter in South Carolina. Lincoln, determined to preserve the Union, called for 75,000 volunteers to suppress the rebellion. The war that followed was the bloodiest conflict in American history, claiming the lives of over 600,000 soldiers. Throughout the war, Lincoln faced immense pressure and criticism. He had to balance the demands of war, public opinion, and political factions within his own party. Despite these challenges, Lincoln remained steadfast in his commitment to preserving the Union. One of Lincoln's most significant decisions was the issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1, 1863. This executive order declared the freedom of all slaves in Confederate-held territory. While it did not immediately free all slaves, it fundamentally transformed the character of the war, making the abolition of slavery a central goal of the Union's efforts. Lincoln's leadership during the war was marked by his careful management of military strategy and his ability to communicate his vision for the nation. He selected and replaced generals as needed, eventually finding capable leaders in Ulysses S. Grant and William Tecumseh Sherman, whose military successes helped turn the tide of the war. Gettysburg Address. On November 19, 1863, President Lincoln delivered one of the most famous speeches in American history at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The Gettysburg Address, though brief, eloquently expressed the principles of human equality and the importance of national unity. Lincoln began with the now iconic words, "407 years ago," referring to the founding of the United States in 1776. He emphasized that the nation was conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. He honored the soldiers who had fought and died at Gettysburg, stating that their sacrifice was made so that the nation might live. Lincoln concluded with a powerful call to action, urging Americans to resolve that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. The Gettysburg Address remains a defining statement of American values and a testament to Lincoln's vision for the country. Second term and assassination. Lincoln was re-elected in 1864, as the Civil War was nearing its end. His victory was a testament to the support he had garnered for his leadership and his vision for a united nation. In his second inaugural address, delivered on March 4, 1865, Lincoln spoke of the need for national reconciliation and healing. He famously stated, "With malice toward none, with charity for all, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds." However, Lincoln's hopes for a peaceful reconstruction of the Union were cut short. On April 14, 1865, just days after General Robert E. Lee's surrender at Appomattox Courthouse, Lincoln attended a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. During the performance, John Wilkes Booth, a Confederate sympathizer, shot Lincoln in the head. The president was taken to a nearby boarding house, where he died the following morning. Lincoln's assassination plunged the nation into mourning. His death marked the first time a U.S. president had been assassinated, and it left a profound impact on the country. Lincoln's vision for a just and united America would be carried forward by others, but his loss was deeply felt. Conclusion: Abraham Lincoln's legacy endures as a symbol of freedom, equality, and resilience. His leadership during one of America's darkest periods helped to shape the nation we know today. Lincoln's words and actions continue to inspire generations, reminding us of the enduring struggle for justice and the importance of unity. The Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. stands as a tribute to his contributions, and his speeches and writings are studied by students and scholars around the world. Lincoln's life story, from his humble beginnings to his transformative presidency, is a testament to the power of perseverance and the enduring promise of the American.